New GF reads friends' texts and now he is being slowly excluded from everything. A friend, M, 33, has a new girlfriend, F, 30. They have been together for around 4 months maybe. The friend and I, F, 35, used to be quite close and I would talk pretty extensively with him about my mental health, past trauma, etc. Well, at some point he had left me on read for a while and I asked if he was okay, as that was unusual. Turns out it was his GF who read my message. She apparently insists on having access to his phone, as she was cheated on in the past, thus has trust issues. That made me profoundly uncomfortable. I don't tell just anyone about my innermost feelings and experiences. As a result, I stopped telling him these things, and with every text I wrote, I considered if I wanted GF to know what I was about to say. Not going to lie, my messages started really drying up as a result. I also felt pretty betrayed, as I felt I had a right to know who was going to read my messages before I sent them. I mentioned what happened to our friends group and their reaction was similar to mine. In the group chat, we are currently supporting another friend through some nasty marriage trouble, and that friend in particular was really put off. The next day, friend with new GF was removed from the chat. The fallout has been pretty dramatic. Friend with GF feels everyone is now freezing him out. GF feels we are making him choose between us and her, because we are supposedly jealous also. If there was nothing dodgy going on, we shouldn't mind that she keeps reading. And I feel sorry for him, but I'm not willing to just bare my soul to someone I don't want to. Is there any way of salvaging this? Are we being unreasonable? TL. Dear friends, GF reads all his texts and now nobody feels comfortable texting him. I don't have advice, but I do have commiseration. When my mom remarried, she decided to share an email address with her husband. This was back before text was huge, and email was our main form of communication back then. She didn't tell me she shared the email, and since the address was literally her name, it didn't even cross my mind that he might be reading them. Anyway, one day I sent a really deep, long email with pictures about my body image issues and she just never responded, which was weird. Turns out my stepdad was the one that read it. My mom acted like I was the crazy one for being upset that he had read it, and so I stopped emailing her anything but the most perfunctory of emails. Since that basically ended any form of deeper communication between us, our relationship took a hit that it never totally recovered from. Anyway, you're not alone, but it still sucks. One of my sons has to give his wife full phone access. She even posts on his social media as him. I don't text him anything personal anymore. His dad told me, he is a big boy. He has to stop that mess on his own. All you can do is tell your friend that he won't be part of group text messages where people talk about private things, and that is his decision. You don't know his girlfriend of 4 months as well as you know the rest of the group. Nor did you choose to befriend her and bring her in. Of course you don't want her reading messages that are about private issues. Sure, you can still invite him to things and use text messages to communicate normal things. How was your day? Congrats on X. Whatever, but he cannot expect the group to just include his girlfriend in private conversations. Tell your friend and his girlfriend they get to decide if they want to read each other's text messages. And you get to decide what kind of text messages you send to people. The GF saying you shouldn't care if nothing dodgy is going on is remarkably ignorant or intentionally manipulative, because of course that isn't true. I have friends I will tell my relationship issues, and some I don't tell as much. That can be because of trust, longevity of friendship, prior history, the advice they give, relationship with my partner, etc. She doesn't get to decide that it is fine if she gets in on personal conversations. Tell the friend he is making his own choice here. And by the way, if he says she isn't reading them anymore, of course don't believe him. His GF is the jealous one who needs to knock it off. No adult should have full access to someone else's phone. It's a ridiculous precedent that is so damn controlling. Emo. You and your friends have made the only reasonable choice by limiting what you text him. If you now know that everything you send him could be seen by someone else, why keep sending him personal info? Sharing things with your partner is normal, but I am hugely put off by the people in this comment section that treat people's trauma and medical history as juicy gossip. This is why not everyone can be trusted. Anyway, op your NTA, but I think you need to sit down with him face to face and tell him his girlfriend's behavior is controlling and wildly insecure. I'm sure there are compromises where she gets to feel secure in the relationship without breaching his and your privacy. If she's not already in therapy, she should get started on that. This is a tough one. Whilst I agree with other comments that people do share things, including "I promised not to tell anyone" things to their so's, we know this. It's not new information that is categorically different to them actually being there for the conversation. I get why friend feels like they're being abandoned, but I also think you've not leaned hard enough into the having to share literally every explicit detail reading messages with so's isn't normal angle. If this is the way their relationship goes, that's fine. It's between them, but it isn't how most relationships go. And so it isn't a reasonable assumption for others to make that their every word will be passed on verbatim to the so. My advice in general regarding messaging: anything you send could potentially become read aloud in a court hearing one day. Remember Elizabeth Holmes' cringe texts? While I feel for you and your friend, he needs to realize his choice of staying with this controlling person is going to have negative impacts with the friend group. Hopefully it'll help him see the light and break it off. You're correct. You are getting frozen out. I really wish it wasn't this way, but I feel like I haven't been left any other option. For your GF to call me jealous is simply a deflection of her complete failure to take accountability for her hand in this mess. Jealous of what? Not having a controlling, insecure GF who hasn't worked through her baggage and treats you with the same level of suspicion as her cheating ex when you've done nothing wrong? A gal who rather see you lose all your friends than stop feeding her anxieties? The woman needs therapy. The whole "if you've got nothing to hide, what are you scared of" line is what cops say and idiots fall for. I don't know her and don't trust her, and therefore don't want her to have access to my most personal thoughts and feelings. To have to defend that desire for privacy and respect is insane. I'm also upset at you for failing to disclose that our once private and personal messages had another set of eyes on them. That really hurt me and some of our other friends too. This sucks, and I really didn't want to lose a good friend, but you're putting me and our other friends in a horrible position by enable your GF. Your GF's trust issues are not your problem and not our problem. I don't like how she's treating you, and I'm sure as hell not going to let that treatment extend to me. So my boundary stands. I'm not going to accept having our personal messages read by your GF. End of story. That trust has been broken, and it's up to you to figure out how to get that back. My door is open. It's time for brutal honesty, in my opinion. Stop treating adults like they are children. Your friend is a pushover. Tell him that straight up. That he needs to fix his BS and that no one wants to share intimate details of their lives with him. Because his mommy, GF, has full access to his phone. If he doesn't understand this, then that is his problem. I'd cut him off. Why hang out with someone like this? I have a friend like this also who lets the women in his life dictate his behaviors and desires. It's pathetic, and I've told him to his face that he is indeed a wimp. Now I have distanced myself because a man who behaves this way also has other personality traits that make it unenjoyable to be around him. He has low self-esteem and it bleeds into everything. Your friend sounds like a carbon copy. Catch-22. Slippery slope. Stuck between a rock and hard place, or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, you are in it. With your friend. Couple problems. She apparently insists on having access to his phone, as she was cheated on in the past. Thus has trust issue. Hate to say this. It seems like your friend is allowing his girlfriend to have access to his phone because of her trust issues of being cheated on again. Thus the monitoring or policing by her. She doesn't want to relive it again. She's in the driver's seat. Profoundly uncomfortable. I don't tell just anyone about my innermost feelings and experiences. As a result, I stopped telling him these things, and with every text I wrote, I also felt pretty betrayed. Thus, you feel violated that your close friend and colleague's girlfriend was able to read your texts. Because of her relationship insecurities. You developed feelings of betrayal and trust issues. Because your friend's inactions to address his girlfriend's insecurities. At this point, you should back off from texting him and interacting with him to a minimum. His girlfriend's insecurities and your feelings of betrayal are good indicators to put the brakes on or slow down your relationship with your friend, because right now his concern or focus is on his relationship with his girlfriend, because they are in the honeymoon phase of the relationship. Thus his main focus. So it's better to slow down with the interactions with him because of her. He's your friend. But just keep a cool head. So just stay to a minimum with him, because he's more focused on his girlfriend more than his friends. Sounds like an attempt to isolate him from the opinions or company of his friends. She's trying to take him away from the friendship group to have him all to herself. Classic narcissistic trait. You and your friends should try X2 to contact and make plans with him. I bet my bottom croissant that she isn't happy with him spending time with his friends. Yeah, that's a catch-22. She has insecurities and he needs to help there, but she shouldn't be checking his phone that often. And you are right, you have a right to keep your own privacy. You are right to not text him that kind of stuff anymore. Maybe more in-person communication. Sounds like he is in a bad relationship to me. I wouldn't tolerate it. You are entitled to your own boundaries so far as another person is entitled to theirs. If there is not boundary compatibility, then it is okay for the relationship to end. I don't necessarily have the same views on you regarding privacy. Most of my friends are married or have long-term GF/BF. I know some of their spouses' stuff. I assume the spouses know some of my stuff. I trust them all. If there was something I really needed to be kept private, I would ask someone if they were okay with keeping it private before I told them, and TBH, I would strongly consider talking to my therapist about it instead. But regardless, I think you get to define what you're comfortable with for yourself and then communicate that boundary. My main thought was throughout this. Were you and your friend group communicating your wishes to this guy? I know it seems pretty obvious not to let someone else read your texts or to tell the group if that's the case. But I see at least 5 of these posts each month and the comments are often all over the place. So I think it's fair to say different people have different preferences. I still think it was reasonable to remove him from the group text because of the boundary incompatibility. I would just make sure the communication of why is clear. And yeah, the GF's behavior seems too much. But I wouldn't concern myself with that. That's his problem. I don't view any of this as an ultimatum. You get to set your own boundaries and he can figure out whatever choices he needs to make. You guys need to talk to him about it, that what she's doing is violating your trust in him and making you feel uncomfortable and is controlling of her. Your friend is right that you are freezing him out, but his GF is wrong. She's making him choose between her and y'all. I think you and your friends need to sit him down and talk. Explain exactly why you are uncomfortable with GF reading texts. And tell him that you are not making him choose. But there should be boundaries in his relationship. And that his friends are entitled to boundaries and privacy too. His GF was cheated on. But you shouldn't have to suffer because of her baggage. If this was some strange girls he was texting, or new females, to him, in a friendship, I could see wanting to skim convos to make sure there's no flirting. But this is excessive and controlling. I'm not sure what the GF's issue is here. She felt uncomfortable with your friend texting with you, so you backed off, and now she's mad? Tell her to pick a lane. I had a friend that was similar. But instead of her BF checking her phone, she would screenshot our messages. Very personal messages, and send them to her BF and sometimes friends to make a mockery of me. That friend is gone and I will never talk to them again. They really broke my trust doing that. Having your private thoughts shared word for word is such an invasion of privacy. My suggestion is to tell it as it is. Tell him that you cannot keep him in the group chat, as that chat is for your friends alone, not SOs to snoop on. Yes, she has been cheated on, still no right to have access to someone's phone. I've been cheated on and I never check my BF's phone. He may show me a funny meme his friend sent him, that's the extent of it. We trust each other and I am happy he has friends he can talk to freely. I'm sorry you are going through this, just know you may lose him, but remember that's okay. He is an adult, and if he can't set firm boundaries, that's on him. It sounds like you have a pretty solid friends group with or without him X. Unless he cheated on her, he should put his foot down at her reading his private convos. He deserved to be excluded if he doesn't get boundaries. I would not be friends with someone that tells my stories. Unless he share every itty bit of secrets she has with the group so the field is level. Would you like that, jealous Karen? All your BF bros knowing you're a starfish and lactose intolerant, so that was you and not him in the bar the other day? I just tell the friend that unfortunately we trusted you with personal information we weren't comfortable with other people knowing, and you broke everyone's trust letting your girlfriend read it. We are in no way jealous of your girlfriend and we're happy you found someone, but she is not our friend and has no business reading personal texts that weren't meant for her eyes. It would have been also really cool to let us know that your girlfriend was going to have access and read our conversations, so we had the choice to send you information about our lives that were personal in nature and only comfortable with sending because it was for your eyes and no one else's.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Cast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.